Good morning, my name's Norms, and at the age of 50 I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. That was 4 years ago, and for the last 4 years I have campaigned and tried to raise awareness about this awful illness. When I was first diagnosed, it was a case of, Norms, you've got Alzheimer's, I'm sorry, either use it or lose it, goodbye, and that was it. There were no information for me. There was nobody telling me where to go or what to do. There was no follow up, which I think is so important. Nobody's saying that you want to hear everything all at once when you've just possibly heard the worst news of your life. But what you do need after a couple of weeks is knowing that there's someone there to fall back on. There's someone there that somebody that cares, somebody that knows what they're talking about, and they can explain things to you. And they can point you to places like memory caves, memory clinics, Alzheimer's Society offices, Dementia UK places, things like that. And also somebody to explain the many, many types of Alzheimer's, or of dementia, I should say. Being diagnosed with something like this absolutely devastates you. But me being diagnosed with something like this, and this is going to sound really strange, was probably the best news I ever had at the time. Because the simple reason being, I thought I was losing my mind. I thought there was a conspiracy against me. I was right and everybody else was wrong. Everything I said, everything I did, didn't seem to match up with the world. And it's very difficult at times to keep your cool. It's very difficult at times to just agree with everybody when you're convinced you're right. And this is why today I would like to talk about early diagnosis. An early diagnosis of dementia is so very important. Since I was diagnosed, I knew what I was up against. As they say, know your enemy. When I was first diagnosed, I learnt everything I could about it. Because how was I going to fight this without knowing what I was up against? It's very hard sometimes for people to accept they've got dementia because of the stigma that's with it and connected to it. But if you had a pain in your back, or your pain in your chest, or you had throbbing in your legs or your feet, and you didn't know what it was, you would go to your doctor and you would ask what it was, wouldn't you? Of course you would. But yet, with dementia, people seem to shy away from it. What I would just like to say is it is not an age-related disease. Yes, it happens in many people as they're getting older, but I was only 50 when I was diagnosed. That was 4 years ago. So I'm 4 years down the line now, and who knows how long I've got left. I know of people a lot younger than me that was diagnosed in that. The lady who was first diagnosed by a doctor with Alzheimer's over 100 years ago was only 52, 53. Somewhere down the line in the midst of time we've forgotten that it's not necessarily somebody who's just getting old. So to all the families and carers and people out there that are seeing people struggling a little bit and forgetting for little things, it's so important that you do take them for a checkup. Or if you yourself are watching this and think you might have memory problems, have a checkup. And when you have the checkup, ask and ask again, where do we go from here? Where shall we go? Where's the nearest memory cafe? Where's the nearest Alzheimer's office? Will I be followed up? Have I got a community psychiatric nurse? Will I be getting a social worker? What shall I do for the future? Because you have a future. You have a future. Lately I've been seeing some very good friends of mine getting slightly worse. And to be honest, it breaks my heart because I can see my future being played out in front of my very eyes unless they find a cure. But because I know what's wrong with me, and because I was diagnosed early, I know how to deal with it now. My family know how to deal with it now. I put all my affairs in order. I set my wife down, my children down, we set the whole family down, those that were old enough. And there's some very good documents out there and booklets out there for young ones who aren't old enough. There's one especially by the Mental Health Foundation called The Milk is in the Oven. And that's a really good booklet for children. So once I'd told them all, we just kind of got on with it really. And I just carry on campaigning. But knowing what's wrong with you is so important. Knowing that you're poorly is so important. You can't hide away from it. This is a terminal disease. I have met people with heart failure who have survived. I've met people with brain tumours who have survived. And I know people with HIV who are living a completely normal life and surviving. Unfortunately, I have never yet met anybody with dementia who has survived. But that doesn't mean to say it's all doom and gloom. That doesn't mean to say you can't carry on living your life. A very good friend of mine once said to me, I'm living with dementia, not dying from it. And that's exactly what I'm doing at the moment. I'm living with dementia because I know all about it. And I am not ashamed of it. People say, are you worried about having dementia? Of course I am. I am petrified of it. But am I ashamed of it? Not one bit. Are you ashamed because you've got heart problems? Or are you ashamed because you've got lung problems? No. Then why should you be ashamed to have dementia? Go out there, find the information and find out. And that person that you're losing a little bit at a time will hopefully be able to spend a lot more time with you. I spend such wonderful days with my children and my grandchildren especially. Days I thought I would never have. And I love every minute of it. We do take day by day, and I do have bad days and good days. I am lucky not to be put on the drug Ibixa, which has turned my life around, but I do know it's not a cure. But if I hadn't been diagnosed early, and I hadn't been seen by the consultants on a regular basis, which you must insist on, it's your right, then I wouldn't be as well as what I am today. I don't know what my future holds, but at least I'm prepared for it. Are you? Thank you so much. Hopefully I'll do another blog next Friday in a week's time. And if anybody would like me to speak or come along, providing it's within driving distance of Devon, I would be more than happy to do so. And if anybody has any comments on this video, please just write to me or write to me on Facebook. And if anybody would like to use this as a training video, you're more than welcome. I hope I've helped. Thank you very much. Bye bye.